to those of you just starting this video on YouTube. The show will commence in about 5 minutes. So if you skip ahead about 4 or 5 minutes, that is the official start of the show. See you there. let's just type this in. Gratuitous audience pandering. I'll be with you guys in a sec. Just a sec. That's right. Hello and welcome, one and all. It is PMP versus, well, testing the fifth, so to speak. And LP Chip and Chargo are in the chat, and you can be in the chat too. Well, there are two chats, and we'll get to that bit in a sec. For those of you not in the know, join the live visual chat on www.planmixplay.com if you want to kind of be part of the record, I guess. By the way, I'm Gazoo, hosting this show live from deep in Tibet, obviously. And you can, you can quote me on that. That's courtesy of Slagon. He wanted us to branch out a bit. He was like, we've covered Japan, covered Australia. Why don't we let's try a new location. And so, why not Tibet? We're going to talk about a very political topic today, and a few other details. Hopefully also a final working finale to the show that I've been fucking dying to show off as working properly. And hey, lots of shit is busted. I was going to work in some new features before I started the show. And all of that kind of ground to a halt when other issues started popping off, and all of a sudden, with 4 hours to go before the show, I did not have a running executable to do the show with, because I kind of developed pretty much on the fly with this version, and it hasn't reached a state where I've made a solid copy of it and gone like, done, that can be used moving forward. But obviously I need to do that. And yeah, so I was kind of, I didn't have a real working version. Fortunately, I could check out some code that I'd done earlier in the day, and then suddenly that code also had a few bugs, which was also kind of nasty. And Casserain joins us on the chat as well. In fact, joins, leaves, joins. And look, we've talked about a few improvements that the chat can have, and we'll get back to that. I'll get back to that in the show later on, but for now, rest assured, improvements have been made, and I'm really hoping that at the end of the show we'll actually have, and there goes the bed, by the way, we'll actually have like a proper ending kind of thing. In the meantime, I'm going to line up a track that I've picked because the requester's a bit on the fritz. I did see that Chargo got in there with something good anyway. As you can hear my mouse kind of clicking around. I'm going to start us off with, let's take a classic. Let's take Glenn Brown with Rubicon, because I haven't played that in a age, and that's a really nice tune. So we're going to start off the evening with that. Glenn Brown, Rubicon. Glenara Brown with a little bit of Rubicon. Good stuff. And once again, now that I'm a little bit more on my feet, I can say welcome to everyone who is tuning in. If this is your first time tuning into the show, there is a visual stream going along with it. So if you're keen on seeing what that looks like, it is at planmixplay.com. In fact, why don't I just really test the waters here and wave at everyone at the stream. Let's see if we do that. Yep, there we go. Hey, everyone watching the visual stream, you can see, well, you can see me, I can't see you, but I can do, heyo. Anyway, that's a little bit of a bonus for people watching. Yes, it is a little bit of a more video-oriented show than usual. And also, I like to say, so first of all, it tickled my fancy, of course, whenever someone bothers to bring up what I do on Slay Radio, and Slaygon and Ziona on their last post-bit show that I caught up with had a bit of a jibber-jabber and mentioned that I was starting to do shows again, which is much appreciated. And I also noticed, of course, that they have also started to do some stuff through YouTube and Facebook, which is exciting because I do the same thing. I don't know if I'm kind of keen to hear if they have any grander schemes or plans for that. I can promise you that I want the show to evolve visually quite a bit. But I'd rather not say too much until we get to the point where there's something to demonstrate. It's always more fun to demonstrate. But anyway, and Shargo asked something that was addressed last show, but hey, I imagine it's probably going to be asked a couple of times, which is whether or not there's any connection between the IRC chat and the chat currently on the live stream. And the answer to that is unfortunately no, and it will remain no for quite a while. I still feel that the best argument for not tying the two easily together, well, look, it is definitely a development issue. If I had endless resources at my disposal, I might prioritize that a bit higher. But there is one argument to be made, which is IRC, well, let me rephrase that. Any chat that is done on the website currently, that is planmixplay.com, becomes a part of the permanent record of the show. And I think there is kind of a line crossing if you do that on IRC, because unless you're telling people up front, hey, you know, your statements online are going to feed into the show, I don't know, it's a little cleaner to not just pipe people's chats involuntarily into a YouTube stream. That being said, of course, anyone who uses IRC and I guess is worried about their chats becoming a matter of public record probably shouldn't be on IRC chatting, because I don't know too much about IRC, but it wouldn't surprise me if none of it is encrypted. And even if it were encrypted, all it would require would be, you know, one guy on the channel called Not an FBI Agent, that would be the nickname, Not an FBI Agent, snooping up a few messages, and yeah, who cares about that? Yeah, like then that's going to be a matter of public record no matter what you do. But yeah, it's also a development issue. So as much as I would like to bring in the chat from IRC, it's easier said than done. That being said, there was quite a bit of movement on the chat channel on planmixplay.com last time, which I was really keen on, because there's a bit of a tie-in with the finale, so I'm hoping some other people will join and chat it up, but I can understand if people would rather hang on IRC for now. Anyway, I'm going to bring it up again later. In the meantime, let's take our first request, which comes from none other than Shargo himself. And he requested via the website slayradio.org, because I believe the bot might be down. So if you do want to request a song for the show, just head to slayradio.org and type in your request. And he wanted a bit of Mr. T with Cybernoid 2, which I'm more than happy to give Shargo. So Shargo, this here is for you, Mr. T with Cybernoid 2. Mr. T Cybernoid 2 for Shargo, and apparently Shargo is mentioning that there's a bit of an issue with the stream dropping frames, which is, so I'll say this, it is entirely possible that is on my end. I currently use XSplit to broadcast the YouTube stream, and it claims that there is 0 frames dropped. I have no idea. I don't know if that's... I know actually for the first time in what seems to be, I don't know, a decade, YouTube had actual outages. Like there was an actual outage of several hours. So I'm just as inclined to believe that it's a problem on my end, but I would imagine that XSplit would then be telling me, hey, your broadcast is not going through properly. And so far all it shows me is 90,000 frames encoded, 0 dropped. So I don't know if I had to fiddle a bit more with my settings. I have, since the last show, basically set up the quality a lot more, both on the video and audio end of things, because they were well below what they need to be for 1080p, which is obviously what you need for this highly sophisticated chat system based in Commodore C64 BASIC. I mean, that's just a necessity, really. Like if it's not 1080p, God, what are you even doing? Why are you even on the internet? Why do you exist? Also, I have a few requests lined up, and I want to tell the lovely requestees, that is to say requesters, that I will absolutely be getting to them. So Shargo, LP Chip, and Ziona, thank you very much for, just raising your hand and doing your little bit and saying like, hey, I appreciate it, play something for me, and I'm more than happy to do so. But not yet. First, I'm going to play a favorite of mine, similar to how Glenn R. Brown's Rubicon is one of those classics that I kind of love to go back to. Blasternox Crack Out, the Blasternox remix, is also fantastic. So I'm going to give you that one. Plastinox with a bit of Crack Out. I really like that song. That's just such a good song. And Shargo holding it down in the chat with me. We're still there, and you can join us on planmixplay.com if you want to be eternalized in the visual stream. And he has a suggestion, but I need a bit of clarification. When you say move the timestamp to the end of the last line, I presume you mean like at the bottom? If you write a paragraph is where you prefer the timestamp to be, as opposed to on the top? Please to be clarifying, what is this? Also, we're going to play a few more requests, but first, we're going to get political, because I can't leave this stuff alone. I think it's ridiculous. I hope some of you have been following along with the pretty horrendous activity that's been happening around, apologies if I mispronounce his name, Jamal Khashoggi, who was a reporter for, I believe, the Washington Post, if I'm not mistaken. Some of these facts might be... I've tried to fact check some of this, not all of it though, because hey, this isn't a news show, but sometimes when something happens in the news that I want to talk about, I'll talk about it, and I'll fact check the most important things. Where he's, the fact that he was had a column in a American newspaper is a bit less important. What's more important is what has happened to this poor fellow, and if you don't know, basically the guy has disappeared. And what happened was, prior to so this man is, I believe, originally has a citizenship from Saudi Arabia, so he is Saudi Arabian, but doesn't live there. He used to apparently be a bit chummy with the regime, but at some point he became a bit more independent. And prior to the 2nd of October, so we're talking this month, 2nd October of this month, he was in contact with the Saudi Arabian consulate in Turkey for the purposes of obtaining documents that would allow him to wed his Turkish wife. Now, there was a date was arranged for him to pick up the papers. He was basically told, come back later. He was there 4 days earlier, and he was told to come back on the 2nd of October. He shows up with his wife in the car, giving her specific details to call for help if he doesn't actually emerge again from the consulate. He never comes out of that consulate. Ever. At least there is zero documentation of him ever leaving. And there's a little bit to unpack here. Until yesterday, I guess I wrote this yesterday, so it'll probably be the day before that, the official explanation from the Saudi Arabian government was that he simply vanished. He left the consulate, but nobody knows where he went. Hey, and there's footage of him entering through the front door, no footage of him leaving anywhere. So they claim, he left through a back door and we don't know where he went, who knows? And there's just so many facts around this that make the whole thing immediately fishy. Look, if you listen to Trumper Man, he said something like innocent until proven guilty. And yeah, that's true, absolutely. There's just a bit too much tainted or, well, let's just say damning evidence. Stuff like consulate staff was specifically instructed to remain at home on October the 2nd. A group of ex-military and bodyguards have been shown to arrive at the consulate around the same time that Jamal Khashoggi was there as well. After his disappearance, Turkish investigators didn't gain access to the consulate until a cleaning crew what should we say? What's the right word? Surprisingly, I guess, I don't know, like, what a stroke of luck that suddenly a cleaning crew needed to go over things in there before any sort of investigation could be done. And if all these things, if these details don't sound fishy to you, I don't know what to say. Like, this, to me, this story is absolutely crazy like, even without any further information, to me, this is so indicative of something being covered up. There's no cleaning crew. There's no footage or evidence of this man ever leaving. The staff had been asked to remain at home. Even though a lot of it can be claimed as being circumstantial, it all points to something foul taking place. So as of yesterday, or that would be the day before that, I suppose. Yes. I think. Anyway, within pretty recently, the official explanation has now changed and now became, he died. in a fist fight at the consulate. He got in a fight and he died. My view on that is that the only reason this explanation has now come forth is because it became more and more untenable with the mounting amount of evidence that grew. The Saudi Arabian government couldn't anymore just pretend to not know and say they don't know. But without going any deeper into this story, this is already just scary and shocking. Sometimes, ignorance and miscommunication can be rampant. But when it comes to life and death and cause of death, these are not scenarios anyone confuses easily. Changing your explanation from he left alive and we don't know where he went to, oh yeah, he was killed in a fist fight here, is such a magnitude that nothing I could compare it to would do it any justice. And to round off this story before we go with a request, I'm just gonna quote. This is from a representative of the state of California in the U.S., Adam B. Schiff, ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, who was quite dismissive of this new updated story. And I quote, he said, and this is from the Washington Post, the announcement that Jamal Khashoggi was killed while brawling with a team of more than a dozen dispatched from Saudi Arabia is not credible, he said. If Khashoggi was fighting inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, he was fighting for his life and with people sent to capture or kill him. Schiff added, the kingdom and all involved in this brutal murder must be held accountable, and if the Trump administration will not take the lead, Congress must. This is just scary beyond belief. It is shocking that something so horrendous can be done and yet outright blatantly denied for such a long time, even with such damning evidence mounting. And the worst thing still is any admittance or any sort of truth that comes out of this, to me, comes out of a political move. So any facts and evidence that kind of feed into this case aren't there to unveil the truth. They're bargaining chips. Like if Turkey suddenly spins on a dime and says, you know what, after further investigation, we actually found he slipped on a banana peel and died. That will be the absolute direct result of a deal being, struck between them and Saudi Arabia. They'll say, look, this is bad. How about we give these concessions and yada, 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 and everything will be fine. Yeah, I don't know. It's really difficult to even digest the story, in my opinion. So hey, let's not get too deep. Let's just have some fun now. Let's push this aside. Look, I know it's a bit weird for me to maybe delve into these topics, but I don't know. This is on my mind, and hey, it's my show, so too bad. Let's play some music now. Let us play a request by LP Chip, who writes, hey Gazoo, can you play us Mithril Nazgul Paperboy Smooth Delivery Mix? Thanks, smiley face. I think this is a great tune that is not played often enough. And I will definitely not say no to a Paperboy song that I've yet to hear. Pretty sure I've not heard this version. With Mithril and Nazgul, take it away.
Just get the rest of this day. Just get the rest of this day. Straight from the 70s.
It's called me. I aim to kill like Kid Cherokee. New kid on the block with a brand new sound. Pumping through your veins, kid, straight to the ground. Throwing a Cree shit round after round. It's a rap battle, match you pound for pound. My throat's been slit, I've turned legit. Call up your bosses and tell them you quit. Icicle bomb on your cell phone. Shit, I like to roll to the sound of the pit. I tend to put butter on my grits. I'm roasting hot dogs on aerial spits. Setting blockades for venereal tits. Provide cyanide in my glove compartment. Throw it like Kit, thunderous wit. Cumbersome rhymes grow like weeds on my lip.
Just get the rest of this day. Just get
I'ma see you in the corner, I'ma see you in the back, I'ma see you in the parking lot, you'd never see me back. I'm like a rap ghoul scaring beats with bass runs and face fools with the rhyme meat like A1. Stakeouts to catch me, never prevent me from making a scene-winning spot on the TV. Here's a freebie, collectible CD, drool on your face, doggy kibble on your chinny chin chin. Yo, I'm in it to win, well I'm not, but sometimes I like to think I am. Letting sins flow like they programmed, letting words glow like they nuclear brand. You was on the track, but I heard you wasn't coming back. Where'd you go, man? You was supposed to bring it back. Set it up like it was limitless attack. Now all your shit stole, go like crack. Leave it to the little ones to sock it to the antelopes and banner notes like piano notes detailing all your anecdotes. Ha, yo, you running like a cantaloupe, eloping with your bitch like I was packing a torpedo boat. Yo, I make a move to the left, a move to the right. I'll be moving all night, cause I work like Enzyte. That's right, I'm all up in your game. You must be ashamed, cause I stole your name. Can't play the game, you can't tame the maid. He can't make it rain, shit, I can't complain. Serving you is vicious, 5-course dishes. Polish up your mug until I get 3 wishes. Adjusting your teeth, aligning your feet. Bicycle scars, then I rinse and repeat. Bruising daily like Matt Maley. Power glove smack, you extinct like Paley. That's what you get, motherfucker. Fucker.
And what is a professional radio show without a bit of dead air in the middle of it all? I mean, we all need a bit of dead air, really. And now that that's over with, I just wanted to thank LP Chip for requesting that. That was Mithril Nazgul Paperboy Smooth Delivery Mix. Yeah, I like that. I always think when people put a bit of vocals on top, is always pretty neat. Yeah, I've had a few. That's the main negative thing about broadcasting on YouTube as well, is that when you don't have a multi-channel network behind you, a so-called MCN, then you are at the behest of YouTube's quite liberal ID tagging system and kind of, stamping you into oblivion. So yeah, basically, if they match with anything that has a copyright, then that usually gets muted out or monetized, I suppose. Or actually, all the songs that I've ever had tagged in the shows has always just been a matter of them being muted out afterwards, which isn't a big deal. But to be quite honest, then I'd rather not play that song. I mean, I know you can argue, but if you just, focused on the radio stream, then you wouldn't have that issue. No, but hey, I'm trying something new. That's what this visual show is all about. I also think we might as well take it away with a bit more music already, because we had a long chat, and I might just get a little bit back to the political topic afterwards. But before that, Ziona wrote, "Can I hear Dr. Future Battle Valley? Because it is one of my recent discoveries, smiley face, thank you." And this is where I I am compelled to pull a Slag on and say, I don't know, Ziona, can you hear it? Is that, do you have that ability? Is that a property that you can... Of course I know what you want, Ziona. You mean, can I play this song? Because if I play it, yes, then you can hear it. So without further ado, just for you, Ziona, it's Dr. Future Battle Valley Dream Team Mix. Presume that's the one you wanted.
I don't seek the presidency to strip this nation of its defenses or to abandon the cause of freedom around the world. I seek the presidency so that this nation will be strong enough to deter war and determined enough to encourage freedom. I ask your help and the help of all Americans so that an American president can tell Nikita Khrushchev, you are wrong. Our children will not live under communism. Your children will live under freedom.
Dr. Future with a little bit of Battle Valley Dream Team, requested by Ziona, none other than Ziona, who also does a show with Slagon, and I think has done a solo show, if I'm not mistaken, and did a couple of interviews with a while, you know, all the important people in the scene. Yep, all the important people. She interviewed them all. No one was left out. Anyway, yeah, that story is just, it boggles my mind. It's shocking that it's just so blatant. And look, it's not even funny. I know I'm sort of, giggling to this is not a laughing matter. This poor, the fiance of Khashoggi, poor, she had her fiance murdered. And he basically died in the name of freedom, or at least what you could argue is a freedom cause. And it's scary to me, because this is something I probably mentioned before, but back when the internet started spreading all over the world, then people were expecting various countries that were very closed down to become more open. They were basically expecting China to open up. They were expecting, countries in the Middle East to open up. Because, hey, now suppressing information is harder than ever before. The world's going to open up and become way more, open. More freedom of press and less oppression. And instead, it kind of seems like it's gone a bit the other way, that countries who really, really, really do not want their population to speak freely, such as, say, China, have just learned how to clamp down. Like, they've mastered the technologies at their disposal and just clamp down on everything. And that is, scary, because it means that maybe other countries, seeing that this can totally be done, we'll get similar and equally scary ideas, and we won't be moving to a more open society on our planet. But it's a bit scary. Yeah, scary. And Ziona mentions that there are still people left to interview. Well, are there? Really? Anyway. I do hope you start doing some shows again. That would be awesome. More shows for everyone, basically. I also hope to eventually transition into a more permanent show. There might be a bit of a delay on that, though. Why don't we cover that after I play this next song by LP Chip, which is a kind of semi-exclusive, which was, coincidentally, played recently on one of Ziona's shows. It's his new remix, No Mercy Sid Overdrive Mix. Take it away, LP Chip. Man, I really gotta say to that LP Chip, that is one heck of a song. Like, you have, I don't know, I would say you've outdone yourself. I haven't, normally I would probably need to kind of listen up to this song, but given that this is a recent edit, that is some fantastic, fantastic compositioning there. Really, really good stuff, LP Chip. Oh man, also, this is something that's been up, of course, and just mentioning it again certainly doesn't hurt, which is to say that the Commodore 64 scene, of course, suffered a tremendous loss recently with Ben Daglish passing on. I have to admit, for me, being born right on the cusp of the C64 and Amiga, I wasn't always too familiar with who produced what songs. I remember being quite familiar with certain compositioners that crossed over. So Chris Hulsbeck, for example. So I wouldn't even know if Ben Daglish actually did any Amiga music either. Please, if you do know, feel free to cure my ignorance. But it is a sad loss indeed, and he will be missed. And my condolences go out to anyone who knew him personally. It's also way too young. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Ben was in not even, I don't know if middle age, like 50s, 60s. I believe he was in his 50s. And that's, considering that people these days live to be 70, 80, 90, that is just very, very young to be passing on. Got a very somber moment all of a sudden there. I think we should play a bit more music. And speaking of said music, I have lined up Hazel with Savage, A Kingdom Will Fall. And I'm all out of requests, so if someone wants to get one in, now is the time. Hazel with a kingdom will fall. Savage. Well, actually, it's Hazel with Savage, a kingdom will fall. But just to mix it up, I make a mistake. I make it a mistake. And I read it backwards. Hey, these things happen. Live show, blah, blah, blah. Ziona has been kind enough to correct my stupidity and inform me that Ben Daglish did indeed do some Amiga remixes. So I've picked one out because I remember playing Venus the Flytrap, and I think I recall either the intro or the first level music being really cool. So I've just haphazardly picked Magnus's remix of the intro to Venus the Flytrap. Here you go. I don't really know how I feel about that. It's look, I'll come out and say it was not the best remix I've heard, and I think maybe what is a little more disappointing is the whole woman moan towards them. Why? At no point throughout the song is there any sort of moaning or any of this? It kind of comes out of left field. I was like, is there a window open beneath these windows that I don't know of? What's going on here? I mean, left by someone else who uses this PC, obviously. I don't know. That comes out of left field. I don't really think it works in this context. So yeah, I don't know. Strange. Anyway, Raspor is joining us on the chat, and we're halfway through the show. You can also join us on planmixplay.com if you want to see the visual output. Every now and again, you'll even see my dumb face because I decide to show it like I choose to do now. And I'll wave a bit at you guys. It's about there. This is my pixelated webcam view. I wonder if there's anything I can count fingers. 1, 8, 6, 19, and 21. There, proof. It's synchronized, as you can see. And also, there's not a lot of exciting stuff going on back here. In fact, you can see there's what appears to be, let's see, this looks to be like a door. You can probably guess that. That up there looks to be an air conditioning unit. And even weirder is actually that it's so bright under... I see why. It's because there is actually an awning, a doorway behind me. So if I quickly do this, so big black terrible void back there. So if this were one of them there horror stories, someone would be coming out of there and I'd be blocking it with my face and you wouldn't see it, and all of a sudden you'd see like a knife go up behind my back and then and see, there the camera went. Now I'm dead, basically. Yes, you're right, LP Chip. It kind of turns purple. Anyway, so that was a Ben Daglish original, not composed by him, but not arranged by him, arranged by Magnus, and I am not really sold on that, so I'll have to check the other Venus Flytrap song at some point. In either case, he will be missed. Also, thank you very much to LP Chip and to Ziona for stepping up to the plate and requesting, along with Raspor, who wants a DJ Snorkel story. I am going to disappoint up front and say I do DJ Snorkels when I have one lined up. I'm not going to pull one out of my behind. And also, if I were... yeah, exactly. Shargo points out, clearly it's because of the, the purple from the screen. Yeah, look, when my hand gets really close, it's really... Actually, that is true. It is from the blue stuff. Look at that. Let's take a look at that again. Look how blue my hand gets. You're right. That is totally from that screen, being the Commodore screen. Because this is where I have my C64. This camera is totally not on like a laptop. This is a C64 based, all of this is. Don't ask me how I get this high resolution and all that. That's voodoo magic. Speaking of, man, what was it, the Chameleon? God, there's been, in case, I don't know if you follow this, I think it was ColecoVision or Intellivision lent their name to a new up-and-coming product that just turned out to be all kinds of foul. And they were eventually exposed because at a trade show, someone took a picture of their, like, console shell. So this was a new console where they're like, they were even saying some dumb stuff. I know this is out of context, but I'm just going to tell you this. So there was a new console coming out, and it was something like... Think of something like... what's that little shitty one called again? The Ouya. So this was like, we're going to do this for like retro games, and the founder had come out with statements like, our games aren't going to be patched, because you can't patch our games, and patches are shit, and it'll be perfect from number one. And then when the press would, kind of ask them, so are you going to have like a massive QA team that's going to help out? How are you going to make sure that the games aren't fucking broken day one? No answer. And that's not particularly convincing. If you state something like, we won't, we aren't going to let this or that happen, but you have no additional facts or information to back any of that up, it kind of sounds like, you're blowing a bit of smoke. And sure enough, at some point when the console had gotten to the stage of being unveiled, and someone took a picture of it, someone pretty quickly found out that inside of this shell, which was originally apparently Jaguar molds, so they bought a bunch of Jaguar molds from Atari that were see-through because the Jaguar failed spectacularly, and I guess these molds just hung out in a warehouse somewhere. So anyway, they bought those, and they were allegedly building the console into that, and I think it was going to be called the Chameleon. It was either ColecoVision or Intellivision that were lending them their name because they bought the rights to that. And then someone took a picture, and then eventually someone said, hey, hang on a sec, I recognize that hardware. It's this capture video card I own. And then they did a one-to-one sort of comparison on Reddit, and sure enough, it's like these transistors here and these microchips here, and this is a fucking one-to-one that exact board. And then very quickly, a lot of posts started getting deleted, and a lot of nothing suddenly happened. They weren't saying a lot out loud, and things became sort of quiet. And then Intellivision or a ColecoVision, whichever one it was, stepped up and was like, all right, we're going to send our team over and do a proper investigation of this. And if they don't, and they were very much like, they have exactly 2 weeks to respond to this request, and they have exactly 1 week to respond to that request. And if there's any delay, and if any of these, these things aren't going to happen, then we are pulling our name. 5 days later, we are pulling our name. Yeah, I guess KVAT mTOR. Buyer beware. You know what? I'm just gonna I'm gonna play a song that I want, and then I'm gonna dip back into the lovely people's requests that are hanging out. I'm gonna play you guys a little bit of Lagerfeld with "Sweet My Sun Shines On" because we haven't had Lagerfeld in a while. Take it away, Lagerfeld. A little bit of Lagerfeld there for you with Sweet My Sun Shines On. And Kasserine had enough. Kasserine was just like, fuck this chat, I'm out, and then left. To which I say, you're going to miss the big finale. This time, it might even work. Let's sit pensively and think about that while I play the next request, which was requested by LP Chip, who threw in a Moog with Jazz Cat. I presume you mean the 007 version. And man, I am more than happy to play that for you, LP Chip. So here we go with Moog. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is back working. All right. Yeah, I know why you hear nothing. That's because I've had to let's do this, let's do that. Administration, get me back on air. Hopefully you guys can hear this now, because that did not go as planned. That particular song did cause a slight error, and I will have to, yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up, but we should be back on the air now. Enjoy a little bit of Alien with a Sweet and Blue radio edit. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. That's these things will happen. I'll get right on that. Be right back. Sweet and Blue Alien Radio Edit. That was, yeah, kind of an emergency song. Because LP Chip's request crashed Plan Mix Play, and sure enough, as he puts it himself, he seems to be very good at doing that. You should look into getting into Q&A if you haven't done that already. So I can't play you Moog Jazz Cat right now. I'll be investigating that until the next show. I kind of already know what the problem is. It's the classic old character set UTF-8 issues, but I'll dig into that. Let's try this other one you requested, the backup, which is Rhino Hunt with Garfield. Hope Snow Crash. Bit of Ryan Ohand there for LP Chip. Thank you very much for requesting that. And Shargo mentions that his streaming issues have apparently been resolved. Had something to do with a lot of memory being chewed up. And as to him asking whether or not, or if it's not weird that streaming video, or just, I guess, streaming video from a live stream or streaming video from a fixed source is different. I mean, I would say absolutely, because if you're streaming from a live source, it's sort of more like managing an incoming broadcast, whereas in the, video watching or streaming from a fixed video, it's far easier because there the client will kind of keep the server updated about how far it's gotten, if it missed some data or something's gone lost, whereas a stream, that's, at least it's definitely more complicated on the server. I imagine the client will also have to deal with more funny business, so to speak, but that's my guess. Anyway, I asked for requests and I got them, so let's have them. Morbid requested a bit of Metal Tusker Subtune 3 by XX Dusty XX. My pleasure, Morbid. a little bit of Dusty with Metal Tusker Subtune 03, requested by Morbid. Thank you very much. And Morbid also says, thanks in advance and have a nice Sunday. Aw, you have a nice Sunday too, Morbid. It's a bit of an editorial pause there, not really sure why, but hey. Oh man, this crash kind of threw me for a loop. I thought I had dealt with all the, so it was a UTF-8 character issue, so it's definitely one of those where, for some reason, that particular song triggers a part of the code in Plan Mix Play that hasn't quite been hardened to unexpected characters. It's kind of something I deal with constantly. I thought I had fixed most of them. In fact, there is a Sebastian Bachlinski tune that's totally that I test with quite regularly because his name is a little bit, special. And I had loaded that in and thought, oh, it's probably dealt with all those. But nope, turns out there was a case somewhere I have not quite tracked all the issues down with. Anyway, to take it away with a bit more music, we're coming into the last quarter of the show. Ziona, you were kind enough to also request a bit more, and you wrote, looking back at BitLive and also in the memory of Ben, how about Fast Loaders with Last Ninja in the Wilderness from 2014? And I'll be more than happy to do that. That is an excellent request, especially thinking of Ben and his unfortunate passing. And she also says, thanks so much for the show. You're more than welcome. Fast loaders with The Last Ninja, The Wilderness. Excellent, excellent stuff. Thank you for requesting that, Ziona. And yes, very fitting. As a, look, I think there was a tribute show recently involving Ben, so I'm not even going to touch that with the 10-foot pole because I doubt I could come anywhere near doing it justice. I think it's safe to say that he will certainly be missed. Shargo, you were also quite early out with a double request, so to speak, to help me on my way, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't have a look at that. TCD, Gina Sisters Dance Mix is what you wanted, and that is what I'm going to serve up to you, good sir. TDC with a little bit of Giant Sisters dance mix. Look, I'd almost put this in like the same category as the Yo Lille Doll song, which is like there's a mega mix of that. I'd put this in sort of the same category. It's kind of a lengthy, nice sort of, I don't know, unzi tune, but yeah, no more, no less, like nothing too fancy really. I'm gonna play one or two more requests, and then we're gonna wrap it up here. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm a little tingly here. I tracked down the bug that plagued Plan Mix Play for the last 2-3 shows that caused it to crash at the very end. So that one should be sorted. But I still was surprised to see the crash we had earlier. So hey, like I said, there's a 50-50 shot this will work out, but we'll see. In the meantime, LP Chip, LP Chip requested 2 songs, or 2 things. First, LP Chip wrote, "Hey Gazoo, how about a Morty tune? DJ's choice," smiley face. And then LP Chip wrote, "Hey Gazoo, I'd also like to hear some Gibbs. Can you play us some Gibbs? Thanks." Yes I can. Morty's good, but Gibbs, and I'm gonna dip over to the Amiga just a little bit. I really love this version of Vixen Through Corinne's Eyes. So please enjoy this, LP Chip and everyone else listening in. It's Gibbs' Vixen Through Corinne's Eyes. fuck, that song is so fucking good. I just had to get up and do a little bit of air guitar for those with me on the stream. That's just, man, that song is just so fucking good. And apparently not without any valid MP3 tags on it, which is why up top it said playing nothing by nobody. And again, this is one of those small fixes where totally my system should be like, hey, if these tags are empty, maybe look at the text file. That like can be a fallback solution to that, and you know, stuff like that. In the meantime, I think that's going to be all the requests I can manage. Raspor did, you know, mention DJ Snorkel. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that. No, I don't have a DJ Snorkel lined up. I have been thinking about dipping into Choosing Beggars and just reading a couple of those, because, man, there are some choosy beggars out there. But instead, I've been thinking about... yeah, I don't know. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do. But I do know that I'm going to play one more song of my choice, and then we'll have the wind down tune after that. I'm just kind of looking over, seeing what we have over here. Kind of feel like we should maybe go with a little bit of Macke, because we haven't had any of him. So please excuse my very bad organizational skills. Madballs, Ode to My C64. You know what? I think I've made my mind. So, I actually don't play this song too often. In fact, I'm not even sure I've ever played, because there was a time where this song, holy shit, if it wasn't in the fucking request lineup every single fucking day. And when that happens, you know, you tend to just, you just kind of go, yeah, look, it's a good song, but I've heard that song about a bazillion times now. But now it actually is a while since I've heard that song. So I'm going to line up as the last song of the evening before we get to the end of the show and the big drum roll finish ending that hopefully will finally work in some capacity. I'm going to play for you guys Macke Artura, Dublin Delight, featuring Andreas Wallström, because, man, haven't played that song in a minute. Please enjoy, everybody.
For an inn, when the devil shined before him, showing off an awful grin. The demon spake you frozen, and he nodded to the feast. A feast so small the dark one said can make you laugh a feast. Come within these walls of mine before the crusty bite. Grab yourself a bottle of wine and drink it with delight. Come within these walls of mine before the crusty bite. Let me table you will earn yourself another pint. Well, the young man said, don't bother, soon I'll find an inn, because your home and castle is built on wicked sin. The devil looked offended as the offer was denied, but still he opened up the door, inviting him inside. Come within these walls of mine before the crusty bite. Grab yourself a bottle of wine and drink it with delight. Come within these walls of mine before the crusty bite. At the table you will earn yourself another pint. Preaching, I can make you whole, and all I ask of you, good sir, is your immortal soul. The dark one asked, are you not tempted? He said, not the least. For little did the devil know the man talking was a priest. Come within these walls of mine before the crusty bite. Grab yourself a bottle of wine and drink it with delight. Come within these walls of mine before the crusty bite. Let me table you will earn yourself another pint.
And there you have it, folks. That is gonna do it for the show. Also, cheers to Casrain, who's having a little drinky winky early in the day. But like they say, it's 8 p.m. somewhere, and it's certainly past 8 p.m. here. In fact, it's almost 10 p.m. It's definitely closing into my bedtime. I hemmed and hawed a bit with the slow tune towards the end as well, because I'm excited to see if the landing, if PMP can stick the landing on this ending here, that would be great. So those of you who are currently tuned into the visual stream, keep your peepers on that, because shit's about to go down. Or alternatively, it'll be another totally tease, crash, sad ending where everything just cuts and then goodbye. So I'm gonna let the song, the ending song, run just a little bit just to see that checks out, and after that, it should hopefully trigger the ending. Until then, why don't I do the normal sort of wind down stuff that I tend to do, which is to have a quick look at the live schedule and see if there's any announcements coming up, which would appear to be no. There is not. There is nothing currently announced. I would imagine that Ziona and Slagon probably doing a show, Crax Ultima probably doing a show. Lots, quite a few people are doing a show these days. Certainly tune into their show. I enjoyed it a lot listening to them. It's always it's basically just 2 hours of Slagon correcting Ziona. That's like that. You don't really need to know anymore. So if you want to hear her say like, "Can I listen to song?" and then Slagon goes like, "Can you?" Ha 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 ha. Because that's how all Swedes laugh, by the way. Man, it was a fun last show here on Slave Radio. I'm sure they're both. I presume they can both take my jokey ways in stride. Yeah, that's right. Boz has his own TM Boz show. And man, I just missed that thing from Shargo. He said thank you for the show, and thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank people hanging out in the chat with me on planmixplay.com, testing out this feature. LP Chip, Shargo, and Casrain. And Raspor was in there for a bit. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out there and helping me test the system while it's kind of half falling apart. Is he Finnish? Really? I really thought that he was originally Swedish. Are you sure about that, Raspor? Well, I guess I should probably just ask Slagon. But anyway, and thanks for everyone who's on IRC as well, Ziona and Casrain. Yeah, it's been a blast. I really hope this ending sticks. And thank you, LPG. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I don't know if I'll be back the very next Sunday. That remains to be seen. In fact, there might be another weekend without any show. But it'll probably be another test show. We'll see how it goes. Oh man, I hope this ending sticks. We'll see. I will let Morty Plastic Pop I Miss You Mix Take You Out, because that's another song that you kind of start throwing up from when you've heard it a bazillion times. But it's been a long time from hearing that, and it's a great great song. And LB Chip says he has a Finnish name. I'd say Kenneth can be quite Swedish. Kenneth. So I don't even buy that story. Anyway, this is neither here nor there. This is not the guess which nationality Slagon is show. It's the end of the show. Maybe we can have one show. It'd probably be a very short show. Apparently Z-Duder is doing some stuff on Boz Radio, Shargo says. So, have a look at that if you want. And now you can kind of hear I'm just stretching. I'm just staying here like postponing the moment of penultimate truth, kind of keeping it together. But look, the time has come. Let's see if this ending finally sticks. Oh yeah, you're right, Mutka. Yeah, right, of course. Didn't think of that, LP Chip. Anyway, no more delaying. This is it. We are okay. So. Now I can delay a bit more, because Slagon chimes in and says he didn't speak Swedish until he was 6. So yes, Finnish I think is the accurate thing. But I've delayed long enough. time to end the show. Time for PMP to hopefully not crash. Thank you all for listening in. It's been great. I'll see you soon. This is Morty with Plastic Pop I Miss You Mix.